time. And I'm not sure if somebody specific has to hear it. I think what it is that I think of all of the art that I haven't had the privilege of enjoying because someone is afraid or feels like they're alone in their struggle. Creating art can be a really lonely experience, right? But someone is ready to love it. And that's scary because, where there is love, there is the possibility for rejection. There is the possibility of all of these negative things. But there's also the possibility of celebration and sharing your emotions and your existence and being validated. Why do we create art? We create art. At least for me, I'll define it for myself. I create because in all of my solitude, my pages were and are the place that I can exist freely, where I do not yes, I do not deny myself the ability to be soft and revolutionary, at least in my thinking. I can criticize myself, I can celebrate myself, I exist. I can just be when the world doesn't allow it sometimes. And so my questions are, how are you showing up in your divinely guided power? Do you want to create a legacy? These are thoughts. I mean, if anybody wants to respond, I always love when somebody hits me up on Twitter or Instagram or what have you. I would love to have this conversation. I think in order to reach this divinely guided power, there needs to be rest. There needs to be stillness, and there is a lot of discomfort in that. We've noticed it during this pandemic, right? Being unable to escape yourself, to run from sometimes our ugly truths. And there is all these additional things that we have to work through. Hence why I always talk about therapy. I mean, if you can't do therapy, even though there are some free options that I saw on like Talkspace and, finding online therapists that post different things or a friend group. But even that, sometimes we feel like we're burdening others with how we feel, and sometimes we feel others don't have the capacity, but just ask. I think it's the most beautiful practice to say, hey, I'm going through this, and it might be heavy, and I just want to know if you have the capacity for it. And if that person says no, then maybe you can mutually hold space in a different way, right? Sometimes it's just, not talking about all the heavy stuff and saying, I planted this thing. Life is a cultivation. And if you can't do that with your friends, which is your chosen family, then I'm worried. Because a lot of us have families where we can't create and cultivate safe spaces. And that is dangerous for our well-being. So if we're choosing people to be in our lives, we should mutually give and receive safety and security, even on the days that we don't agree. If you usually show up for others, how can you use that divinely guided power for yourself? I think this is a really important question because I think that one way or another, the cup is always tipped, either emptying or overfilling, but not in the way where like my cup overflows kind of situation, but like there's a tarot card. I'm getting real weird on y'all, and it's probably gonna get weirder, y'all. That's the Four of Cups, right? And what it shows is that there's a cup that somebody's like holding. Is it a Four of Cups? Maybe it's the Pentacles. The fours. Well, cup, pentacle, whatever. Home person, could be, whomever, is holding, yeah, it's the Four of Pentacles, is holding a coin to their chest, right? There's these other pentacles or whatever, but they're holding on really tightly to a coin. And I think that sometimes that's what I think of when it's like you're overfilling a cup, but you're not sharing yourself or your creations with the world when you have an abundance, maybe thinking that you'll run out. And do we run out of creativity? I don't think we do. We just burn ourselves out to the point there's nothing left. But that's neither here nor there. Do you give it away or hoard it? See? There you go. Do you even know what it is? My best friend asked me after listening to one of my episodes, what is your magic? What is your superpower? And I had to sit with it. And I realized I am a holder of space. And I think I'm also a cultivator of safe space. Why? Because it was what was missing most for me throughout my years. Because it's not even like only as a kid, but like in general. A place where I can exist without feeling that I will be taken from in all of the ways that is defined. So what is your power? You don't need to know it today, but it might help guide you a little further. If you don't know what it is, listen less to your shoulds and more to what you're itching to do and ignoring. What is natural to you may not be natural to others. And that in itself is power. Like if you do like dope spreadsheets, not everyone knows how to do that. Or if you get excited about, I don't know, in my case, astrology, like I'm obsessed. I will probably study it in the future, like near future. I'm in love with poetry. I legit insta stalk. Well, not stalk, because that's a little dangerous. We're not doing that. But like I obsess over loosely writers, fantasy writers. If I love your book, I'm probably following you on social media. Not to see what you look like, but it's like, who is the brain behind this? Like, how did you get there? Like you created a whole world out here that I love. I have to follow this person. So I hope it wasn't overly preachy, but it's something that I feel like it needs to be expressed and said. Like, you're so dope. You're so great at what you do and what you create. Let somebody else check it out. Don't hoard it for just 3 to 5 people to see. Like, put it out there. And that's uncomfortable. But where has anything grown? If we think about the rose that grew from the concrete, right? How the hell do you think a rose grew from the concrete? It wasn't staying under the cement. It was pushing through to see it, to just bloom. Like, we put so much pressure on having to exist a certain way, and then we get all this outside pressure to exist a certain way. But what if we just existed? What if we bloomed based on nurturing ourselves? Like, planting for me it's a consistent lesson. There's these plants that I have not killed. I am amazed. And what is it that I have to do? I have to check on them, give them affirmations, right? You gotta talk to your plants positively. Check it out. Is your dirt dry? Like, are you feeling a little dry? Is your cup empty? Let me refill this. And leave it alone. When I have fussed over plants, and I know I've been talking about plants for a little while now, when I have fussed over them the most, I have killed them. Or almost killed them. Sometimes I keep a close eye on my plants. But I'm not consistently like, oh, you look a little dry, let me just, add a little. No. You got good dirt. Making sure you get your sun. I'm adding a little water. And I'm going to talk to you guys. Do that for yourself. I had to tell many times. I heard this on another podcast, the Getting Grown podcast. And one of the hosts said, God will not play you. And that for me is one of the most powerful things I ever heard, because I was like, oh my God, she's right. Sometimes, and I've had to learn this the hard way. Sometimes we feel like we have a better plan than the universe does for us. Or whatever you believe in, right? Or if you believe in nothing, at least I hope you believe in yourself. But in my case, sometimes I get arrogant. That's ego me. And that's me reading myself. So it doesn't sound like, I'm just attacking people. That's not what we're doing here. And I think that I have a better plan. And it's not even on purpose. It's just trying to control outcomes to things that you don't even have tomorrow. So why you worry? But yeah. And then I have this whole drawn out plan. And I'm going to do all of these things by this age and have all of these things by this age. But what do they say? If you want to make God laugh, make a plan. God laughs because your plan is too small for what they have for you. Period. It is too small and too confined for the greatness that you carry. We are not creatives to just exist in a vacuum or in this little small box place that we put ourselves in. We're bigger than that. And even if we want to just keep all of our creativity to ourselves, that's cool. But do it in a way that is empowering to you. But again from the Flourish Media Conference, and that was such